Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
We are learning 6 people were shot at a busy Seminole County intersection. One of them died. The shooting happened early Monday morning near Reinhardt Road and County Road 46A near Sanford. Detectives have not said what led to the gunfire, but say it could be linked to an event just a few miles away. News 6's Catherine Silver reports.
Before we fully go into this case, I want you to watch this clip. It would later help you understand the shocking idea behind this case.
I had your password, yes or no? I had your password. I had your password, yes or no? Yes or no? Shut your soft ass up, man. Did I whoop you? Hey, did I whoop you when we was just rapping your song? Did I whoop you when we was just rapping your song? Did I beat you up rapping your own song before? Did I beat you up rapping your own song before? My shit, nigga. Did I beat you up rapping your own song before, nigga? What you talking about? Get in the ring, nigga. Or pay somebody. That's what you do, nigga. I'll fuck you.
An innocent person's life, taken by a bullet not meant for them. Can you even begin to comprehend that kind of helplessness, that kind of injustice? It's a reality more brutal than any fiction, and it raises a terrifying question. How does a music feud, broadcast online, become a real-world murder weapon? The early morning hours of January 16, 2023, felt like any other. Quiet, normal. Princess Tolliver and 5 of her friends were simply riding in a van after a night out when a dark-colored car pulled up alongside them. A spray of gunfire shattered the silence, and in a matter of seconds, an ordinary trip turned into a frantic race for life. 6 women were hit, their bodies broken by bullets, but only 5 would survive. Princess Tolliver, a 31-year-old from Tallahassee, died in a brutal act of senseless violence, a tragedy she did nothing to invite. The investigation began immediately, but this was no random crime. The police quickly determined the van was a target. The real story behind this murder isn't about a chaotic street fight, it's about a meticulously planned attack, a terrible case of mistaken identity, and a dangerous new reality where digital conflict bleeds into bloodshed. The people responsible weren't strangers. They were members of a gang aiming for credibility in the most violent way possible. What you're about to hear is the true story of how a misguided act of violence ended a life, and why the line between online feuds and brutal reality has vanished completely. Welcome to True Crime Footprint, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most terrifying true crime tales. Kindly subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell, so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. As the backdrop of this tragic story, Seminole County, Florida, is known to be a place that feels like a refuge. Known for its quiet, family-friendly suburbs, lush parks, and scenic lakes, it's a community often defined by its peaceful reputation. The county maintains a low crime rate, and many residents choose to live there precisely for that sense of security. Yet, as this tragic story shows, no community is entirely immune. In the early morning hours, that peaceful facade was shattered, proving that even in the most seemingly tranquil places, real-world violence can have a devastating impact. It was a quiet Monday morning, January 16, 2023, just after 2 a.m. On the streets of Seminole County, Florida, the night still felt peaceful, a tranquil stretch of road that residents considered safe. Then, that peace was shattered. A Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van carrying 6 women, including 31-year-old Princess Tolliver, was driving along a main road. They were simply heading home after a night out, just a few miles from the city, when a dark sedan suddenly appeared alongside them. The silence was instantly replaced by a series of sharp, violent sounds. Bullets tore through the van's side, a relentless barrage that came without warning. The driver, thinking fast, didn't stop to assess the damage. They put the vehicle into a panicked, frantic race toward the nearest hospital, hoping to outrun the darkness now following them. At the hospital, the true scope of the attack became painfully clear. All 6 women inside the van had been shot, and while 5 of them would receive medical treatment, one wouldn't make it. Princess Tolliver, the innocent victim, was pronounced dead. This was no random act of violence. From the moment investigators arrived, they knew the van was specifically targeted, but that fact didn't provide a single answer to the only questions that mattered. Who were the women in that van and why had their night out ended with a vicious, mistaken attack that claimed an innocent life?
I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. For days, we have waited to learn more about the moments those shots were fired and the people impacted. We've been following this story since Monday when Seminole County deputies say the shooting happened just after 2 a.m. near Reinhardt Road and County Road 46A. Investigators say 6 people inside a van were shot. One of them, 31-year-old Princess Tolliver of Tallahassee, was killed. In just the last hour, the CBS station in Tallahassee sat down with one of Tolliver's friends who says she was one of the 5 wounded. Sharina Williams says they were in the van having a good time when the shots rang out.
You know, just vibing on, Snapchat recording, just normal moments. You know, everybody's just laughing, having fun, dancing on the Sprinter van. Nothing not usual. Everything just normal stuff we do.
So then what happened?
And then next thing I know, we just heard a whole bunch of shots. And they just never stopped. I got shot right here in my upper arm, right here. I didn't know. It just felt, because I had on a jean jacket. And I remember just feeling something warm. I'm like, okay, why my arm feeling warm? I'm like, I'm not thinking none of it. And I looked at my jacket. I didn't see no hole or anything until I got off the Sprinter van when we got to the hospital, and I took off my jacket. And then I noticed that it was bleeding.
Now, it is important to note that the sheriff's office has not released the names of anyone wounded, telling us they invoked Marcy's Law. Deputies have not announced any arrests in this shooting. They did tell us earlier this week that they may have located a vehicle connected to all of this. They are also trying to see if there's any connection between the shooting and a concert at the barn in Samford on Sunday evening. We are going through more of this interview right now, and we'll have an update coming up on News 6 at 7.
Just hours before the attack, Princess Tolliver was a life fully lived. She was a 31-year-old from Tallahassee, a security aide at Florida State University, and to her grandmother, Barbara Flynn Tolliver, she was a very outgoing, very sweet, and lovable young woman. Her family called her a hard worker. She was also a beloved sister. She shared a particularly close bond with her 3 sisters. And her loss left an empty space that can never be filled. Her family friends even considered her a sister, telling reporters that she was just here for one night, visiting for a concert. She was simply having a good time before she was senselessly taken.
So last ride of the day before we go kick up our feet. So look at shit.
It's important to be clear. This story is about this woman, Princess Tolliver, the one whose life was cut short by a bullet. This tragedy has nothing to do with anyone else who shares her name. This is her story, her life, and her family's pain. It's a pain that started on an ordinary night, and it's a pain that her grandmother said she never dreamed she would have to feel. It's impossible to hear a story like this without feeling the injustice. What do you think should happen to the people who are responsible for this kind of devastating mistake? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office moved quickly, securing the area, serving warrants, and following every lead. From the very beginning, investigators were certain of one crucial detail. This was not a random act. The evidence showed the van was a specific target, meaning the people inside were either the intended victims, or simply caught in the crossfire. The police had a murder on their hands, and the only question now was who had a motive this powerful.
So we don't know the answer to the question of what their individual motive was as far as whether or not they were paid for this. We don't believe that they were paid for this. We do believe as a newly established Crips organization, they were looking for street validation. It was clear that they had been watching this very public debate between Kodak Black and Jack Boy, which was not only playing out on social media and in other forms of entertainment media, but also in the court system, and probably took this as an opportunity to make a name for themselves working in this space. The investigation did not reveal that there was any financial compensation or that Kodak Black had arranged direct involvement with them to do this.
The answer would come from a completely unexpected place. Authorities soon learned the violence was a direct consequence of a very public, high-profile dispute between rapper Jack Boy and another prominent artist, Bill Capri, better known as Kodak Black. A digital conflict, playing out in the public eye, was what fueled this real-world brutality. But the motive went even deeper than a rap feud. Investigators identified the shooters as members of a criminal street gang known as OTF, a newly established Crips affiliate. This wasn't just a retaliation. It was a strategic move by the gang to make a name for itself and gain a reputation through a high-profile act of violence. Then came the most tragic truth of all. The attackers' plan had failed. The target wasn't any of the women in the van. Police concluded the assailants mistakenly believed rapper Jack Boy was a passenger inside, making Princess Tolliver's murder a botched attempt on someone else's life. A public dispute on social media, a gang seeking recognition. How could these two things combine to kill an innocent person? And could law enforcement ever hope to hold these men accountable, when the violence was born in a digital world and carried out in the dark of night? The Seminole County Sheriff's Office knew from the start this case would not be simple. This wasn't a crime with a clear motive or a single perpetrator. This was a complex operation that demanded a relentless response. For over a year, investigators worked tirelessly, executing more than 120 search warrants and partnering with multiple agencies including the FBI and U.S. Marshals. Their persistence paid off. In February 2024, Sheriff Dennis Lemma announced a massive breakthrough, the arrest of 13 individuals connected to the shooting, but even that was just part of the story.
Father of the woman who died when she got caught in a Seminole County gang shooting says that he is relieved that police now have 13 people in custody. West 2's Bob Hazen spoke with Princess Tolliver's dad and found out investigators arrested some of those suspects months ago.
13 alleged members of a very violent gang are now here at the Seminole County Jail. One still has not been caught, but we learned that that man actually was arrested the day after the shooting, but eventually was released. Princess Aura Tolliver was an innocent victim killed when investigators say members of a Sanford gang called On Top Forever, or OTF, opened fire on the van she was riding in with friends in January last year.
Somebody puts it out on the internet. I see my daughter dead on a Sprinter van on the internet. That's just hard. It was just, man.
Tolliver's father, Edward's been waiting for justice. And yesterday, the Seminole County Sheriff announced 13 people are now in jail charged with Princess's murder and racketeering.
I'm glad that those 13, 14 people are off the street and no one else can be harmed by them. They deserve... This jail is too good of a place for them.
The sheriff says OTF was possibly trying to build street cred by targeting a rapper, Jack Boy, who'd performed that night in Sanford. He'd been in a feud with well-known rapper Kodak Black, and the sheriff says there's no evidence yet directly linking Kodak to the crime. Investigators are also still trying to catch one man, 25-year-old Trevon Law. Court records show that on the day after Tolliver was killed, Orange County deputies actually arrested Law in an SUV that Seminole County was looking for. The records show Law was questioned by Seminole County detectives, but only charged for having marijuana, and eventually that case was dropped. Another alleged gang member, Jamichael Wright, was arrested in May for a 2022 deadly shooting on the 408, but in December, the state attorney's office dropped that case, citing a lack of evidence. Now the suspects are being held with no bond. Tolliver believes more people involved in the feud should also be arrested.
And now my daughter's dead because of this stupid gun activity and the racketeering and the selling of drugs and so on and so forth. She was just here having a good time, and now she's dead.
The full scope of this operation was even more shocking than the initial crime. Consider the case of Trayvon Vasco Law. The day after Princess Tolliver's murder, he was briefly arrested in an SUV that police were actively seeking, yet, he was only charged with marijuana possession and later released. It took an entire year of painstaking, methodical police work to finally build the case against him and the others. Law would become the 14th and final arrest, but his initial release highlights how complex these cases can be. This was not a simple murder charge. At last, the relentless effort of the police paid off. Trayvon Law was caught and arrested. A grand jury issued multiple indictments, including first-degree premeditated murder for Princess Tolliver and her 5 injured friends, but the most significant charge was racketeering under the RICO Act. This proved that law enforcement viewed Princess Tolliver's murder not as an isolated incident but as a part of a much larger criminal operation by the OTF gang. This case is a stark example of how organized crime impacts innocent lives. If this video helped you understand the story, please share it to help raise awareness about the case. In the end, Princess Tolliver's murder gave us a terrifying answer to the question of how an online feud can become a real-world murder weapon. Her life was tragically caught in the crossfire of a social media war, a brutal example of what happens when online posturing leads to real-world violence. The grief of her family is a stark reminder of the human cost. Princess's father said it was all the result of stupid gun activity. Her friends spoke of her simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and their enduring pain is a painful echo of a night that will never be forgotten. This case is a powerful warning. The tragic death of Princess Tolliver shows the dangerous, direct link between seeking reputation in the streets and destroying an innocent life. It reminds us that behind every headline and every court case, there are real people left to deal with the permanent consequences of misplaced anger and senseless ambition. If this story helped you understand the tragic truth behind Princess Tolliver's murder, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. It's the best way to help us continue bringing you these stories and ensure that her legacy, and the pursuit of justice, live on. Our hearts ache for Princess Tolliver's family. Words feel inadequate, but please know you are held in deepest sympathy and prayers. May you find strength and comfort in memories of Princess. Thank you for watching, for your attention, and for joining us on this journey of reflection. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.